Hey everyone, welcome to season 3 of the Holistic Living Podcast. We took a summer break because life was very hectic and there was so much that I wanted to do and enjoy and get done. And podcast was taking the back burner, but we are back to having our weekly podcasts. And I have a huge list of podcast topics that I've collected over Instagram and YouTube. So I am excited to start getting those out for you guys. Today, we are talking about something that I think everybody needs to hear. It's going to seem like, oh, this is common sense, but I promise you there's going to be some really good tips here to make life healthier. And really the topic of today is how to make time for things that are important to you, for things that are a priority, especially when it comes to our health. Again, this might seem like a boring topic, but so many people have said, I just can't get all of my nutrition in a day, or all of my water, or my exercise, or the deep breathing, or the food, the supplements, whatever it might be. So I have some really good tips, some things that have helped me to stay consistent over the years. For those of you who are new, my name is Marla, and I have so many different autoimmune conditions, psoriasis, IBD, so many, PCOS as well, which is not autoimmune, but definitely something I struggle with, eczema, etc. They're all in remission. However, they're only in remission because I have to maintain a really healthy and strict lifestyle. I also have 4 kids. I homeschool them. I have a 2-year-old. He's my youngest. I have a full-time business. All the things. I meal prep and keep my house as clean as I can. So life is hectic, as I'm sure you can imagine. And it's not easy. It really is not, to stick to a healthy lifestyle and to have goals and stick with them day in and day out and be consistent. So I've collected some really good tips over the past almost decade of living this way. And I want to just share them with you. They're really helpful, even though they might seem basic. They really are helpful and work so well. And they're definitely things that are implementable. So I'm not going to tell you like, oh, just make more time by waking up earlier. Cause I'm not doing that. I'm so tired as a mom and a business owner. There's no way I'm going to be waking up at 4 a.m. to, allow more time for myself. If you can do that, yes, please do. But that's not what I'm going to be sharing with you. So these are realistic, implementable goals and things that can just really help to give you the time that you need to get what's important done. Before I jump into that. Wow. Before I jump into that topic though, I want to just give a few updates on where things are at, because I do use this podcast as a means to keep in touch and keep my friends, my family, my followers, my clients in the loop. So I wanted to share a few things that I've been working on, some things that are happening on my end, and where you can kind of expect things to be going in the future as well. So I am homeschooling all the kids this year. Last year I did have them in private school. This year we're homeschooling everybody. I've already been losing my mind and we're a week in. I definitely don't love homeschooling, but I love the idea that our schedules are flexible, that my children are with me. So there's definitely a lot of benefits to having them home, but it's chaos for sure. So I've actually been trying to really rethink everything that I do with my business to give me more time to do the things that I need to be doing with the kids, like homeschooling and to being a good mom and all those things. So I've been making quite a few shifts. There's one thing that I'm actually doing that's a complete pivot in my business. That's not anything to do with holistic health per se. It's definitely health related, but it's not at all with consulting and autoimmune and anything like that. It's a whole other ball game, but I don't want to share too much on it until I'm really confident with where I'm at. But I have to go kind of back and get some more education and do certain things, which I'm starting, but it's a whole process, a work in progress. So I'll share more on that soon, but I'm sharing this because I am starting to take a step back. I've sat down, I've laid out all the different components of my business. I love every component. They're all so special in their own way, but I've had to kind of just sit back and say what's not, one, bringing me joy? What do I dread doing when the week starts in terms of the business? And then secondly, if it's not, helping me financially in a significant way, it needs to go. Because as I'm sure you all know, in 2024, the cost to operate a business is beyond high. And because I practice in the US, I have to pay insurance in the US and a lot of fees for the US, and they're all in US dollars, which is slaughtering me as I'm a Canadian. And that exchange rate is not nice to us right now. And then just being in 2024 as well with all the crazy inflation that we're seeing, and food is crazy. Everything's crazy. Supplements are like $80 a pop. Like, it's insane. So it's really hard to, just kind of ignore the expenses of things. So things are really expensive. Having 4 children is crazy expensive. Gas on a van is expensive. So yeah, I've been trying to just be like, where can I cut with the business? Is there things that I don't enjoy, but I'm paying for to operate? Can we get rid of it? So that's what I've actually been doing. And there are going to be some cuts coming, and I'll share more on that in the future. Definitely, I've dialed back, like I've mentioned before, like by 90%, my clients. I'm slowly starting to just not do one-on-one consults anymore. I'm still taking some clients and I'm still working with clients, but overall, I've really dialed it back to about 20% volume of what I used to do, just to make more time, because the kids are just at such a needy age, and to make more time for doing things that actually like gives me a lot of joy, and I don't feel like it's taking all the energy out of me and taking so much time. So I made a group program last year, the 60-day gut reset, which I've just put an expansion pack on. So it involves a full Candida parasite cleanse, a leaky gut protocol, an entire whole body reset, including liver and kidney drainage, full nutrition guidelines. We also included a lot of resources for different therapies that you can add on. So it's not just supplements, it's not just diet, but there's so many therapies. And I also have a ton of mindset support in there, focusing on how to take your lifestyle and make it healthy long term. So you're not just doing something for an acute time period, but rather chronic. So something that is going to help you forever improve your health and keep taking care of your health without it feeling overwhelming. So there's so much incredible support, so much information in there. I'm so proud of that program. There is an active discount code right now. I believe it's offering $100 off. I think the code is 100 off that you can use. The link is in the description of this podcast for the 60-day gut reset. You can get $100 off the program. You have access to everything within the program. We have Zoom meetings, like live Zoom meetings, and there's a private Facebook community and so much more. So there's a full gut reset. You're going to lower your whole body inflammation. You're going to help heal your gut, clear pathogens, clear your skin, all that good stuff, but then with all of the perks on top of it. So that's something I'm putting all my time and energy into because I love it so much. And the people who have been in the program have been really enjoying it and getting good results. So I've been loving doing that, and I'm slowly phasing out consults to get that more of a focus or priority for me. And then, like I said, I am kind of going back to quote unquote school. I'm doing something else and pivoting quite a bit to something I think might just be a little bit better in terms of my time, being that I do want to really be present for my kids. So I'm going to share more on all that soon, but you guys can expect some big changes coming. You guys can always reach me through social media as well. My Instagram, Holistic Homeopath, holistic with a WH. And that's mainly where I'm showing up daily. All right. So anyways, let's get to the topic of time and time management. This is so crucial because I don't think anyone can be successful in business, in relationships, in their health, in education, whatever it is that you're doing as a parent, if you don't have good time management. And it's not just about showing up when you need to show up to something, but more importantly, how you organize your day. So that's what I want to talk about. And I think this is going to help you really be successful. We're talking about health specifically, but you can implement this into any aspect of your life. What I have really come to realize is, especially as a parent, you might not be a parent, but that's, I feel like, can really apply to those who are parents. But even if you're not, this can still apply. I feel like when you are taking care of other people, it's so easy to put yourself on the back burner. Or even if you are just maybe have growing up or in a relationship, if you haven't been a priority. I know people have a lot of past traumas where they maybe weren't treated the way they should be. You carry that into your adult life and you still find it hard to make yourself a priority. And that can really shoot us in the foot, because if you're putting your children first or you're putting your partner first all the time, I mean, these are beautiful things to do, but if it's affecting you and making you worse off, then you're not going to be the best version of yourself for your loved ones. So you do have to get comfortable with the idea of doing things for you. And it doesn't have to be selfish things. It doesn't have to be like, I'm going to go on a 10-day vacation alone every month, or I'm just going to go on shopping sprees, or I'm just never going to be home because I need to put myself first. Like, we're not talking about being selfish, but more about if something that you need to do to get to the goal that you want, you're not doing because you feel guilty doing, that's where we need to reassess the mental aspect of it. So I'll give you an example. Something for the longest time that I had a hard time doing was actually having like a physical gym membership and working out every day. I would work out every day, but I would do it in my home, and you're limited with what you can do at home because kids are climbing all over you. You have a small space. You don't have a ton of equipment. At least I didn't. But I would feel guilty spending money on myself for a gym membership or waking up and leaving the house every single day to go work out, or almost every day. So for the longest time, because of the guilt that I felt, I just wasn't doing it. And while I was moving my body at home, I didn't enjoy it. I felt stressed out through the entire workout with all the kids, harassing you all the time. And it started to make me really resent fitness and resent my family and resent myself. And that wasn't good for anyone. And the same thing went for anything else I was trying to achieve in life. I would always feel guilty as a mom, putting myself first, taking time for myself. And then once I realized like this isn't doing me any good, I am going downhill with my health. I need to actually prioritize myself, not selfishly, but enough that I feel taken care of, that I have the energy that I need to then take care of the family. That's really where it was a game changer for me. So sorry about that tangent, but I just wanted to really say that because it's okay to need to take time for yourself to work on a goal. So let's get into like the meaty part. What I want everyone to do after you are done listening to this podcast, like take some time and you need to write down. And I know people are like, oh, great, here we go, writing things down. But bear with me on this one. It's a really, really short but effective task. Get a piece of paper and just list on that piece of paper your biggest goals or priorities, from most important to least important. So I'll give you an example again, just to make this easy. If your goal is that you need to flip your house in 6 months because you have to move in 6 months, for example, then it most likely one of the goals at the very top would probably be renovations and fixing your house. If your goal is you have a fitness competition coming up and you need to have you need to cut a certain amount of weight, or you need to build a certain amount of muscle, or if you just you have you're an athlete and you have a big event coming up and you need to perform a certain way, then your goal near the top of your list should probably be exercise and fitness related, probably nutrition in there as well. If you have an autoimmune disease, if you have psoriasis and your goal is I need to clear my skin, and the way you're doing that is through supplements and a really strict diet, then that should probably be somewhere at the top of your list. So just make a list of things that are a priority for you. The top being the most important, where you will dedicate non-negotiable the most amount of time to. The others being goals that you have and things that you want to do, but you will dedicate less time to. And if you don't dedicate any time to it, that's okay, because the most important thing on your list is taken care of. So for example, again, if you say your top goal is, again, you have psoriasis or IBS and you're like, I need to fix my health issue, and non-negotiable, I have to wake up every morning and meal prep for the week. I need to have all my supplements on the counter so I remember to take everything and they're all organized. I need to every single morning have my water portioned out on the counter so I don't forget to drink. Whatever it is, whatever that involves for you being healthy to reverse your health issue. If you need to have that done every single day, then the minute you wake up and you brush your teeth and make your beds, like the first thing you're doing is you're heading to the kitchen, you are organizing your food for the day, you're pulling your supplements out, you're starting to take things, you're making your herbal teas, like whatever your thing is, like that's getting done first. Okay, you're not going to go and say, well, fitness is not as much of a priority, but I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to take care of my nutrition. No, if your biggest thing is like, I'm so sick of having skin issues and I need to clear that, then that's your top. You put all of your initial time into that. If fitness is a secondary goal, I say at the same time that I want to clear my skin, it would be nice if I could lose some weight. Okay, cool. Fitness is always a very important goal, but you're going to do that after you've taken care of goal number one. So with the time you have left over, that's where you're going to then put it into fitness. If after fitness is done and your meals are done, then your next goal is like, I also want to read one book a month, then you can also have that on your list. And once your fitness stuff is done for the day, your supplements have been taken for the day, your food has been prepped for the day or the week, whatever you're doing, with any extra time you do have, you could maybe squeeze in some reading. And the list goes on. So that's where you need to kind of, in your mind, really think about like, what is goal number one? Like, what is the most important goal right now? That's going to be at the top. Now, obviously we have children. So I'm not saying you wake up and you ignore your work and you just don't go and you ignore your children. That's not it. It's just when you are home, when your kids are giving you a minute, number one goal, that's what you're first going to do in the day or in the evening. Like whenever you start to have time to put your energy into something else, it's gonna go to your first goal. I hope that's clear and that makes sense. So not right now, but back when I was in the depths of IBS and psoriasis and mold toxicity and thyroid issues, like health became an urgency. Like it was something that it was like, if I don't fix this, I'm dying. So I had a lot of goals. I was in school. Obviously I had children anyway, and like I had a whole life and a house to take care of and everything, but I was in school. I had really big fitness goals. I've always been active my whole life. I had social goals. Like I had friends I wanted to make sure I was seeing often, and a whole bunch of other things. I also liked to do hobbies. So I was like, I liked to do gardening and baking and whatever else. And all that stuff is fun and all that stuff brought me joy. But I also knew, well, I only have 24 hours in a day. I probably cannot do everything that I would love to do. So what is the most important? And for me, it was get your supplements in, because that's hard. It takes time, especially when you're on a full protocol, to time it all. And get the diet perfect, like cook in the beginning of the day or whenever I have a minute to make sure I'm prepped for the day. And so before I did my fitness, before I studied, before anything else, my most important thing was I needed to get healthy. So that was where, like, as soon as I had a minute, that first minute I had free went to my number one goal. When all of that was taken care of, if I had spare minutes, then my next goal was school. So I would get that done. And the third goal was fitness. So then I'd squeeze in a workout, and then you go down the list from there. Some days you might only get the number one goal done on your list. Other days you might get it all done. But if you know that your number one goal is, say, reversing IBS and taking your supplements and eating clean to do that, if you are at least doing number one goal, then you are knowing that your number one goal is being achieved every single day. If you can get to your secondary goals, awesome. But at least you know, if I didn't, like, my number one biggest priority is taking care of every day. So that's the first step, is first just figure out what your goal is, write out a list. No matter what, you start with number one every single day, as soon as you have time. The next thing that we need to do is really be realistic about our schedule. I am a write things down person. I just find that when it's in front of me, it's in a visible book, I can see things more clearly. But other people like to use like a calendar on their phone or, something like that. So that's fine if that's what you want to do. But I think it could be honestly beneficial to buy a physical calendar or a physical calendar journal, so you can actually see how full your schedule looks. I write every single thing down on my calendar in my schedule book. So every single day I have my entire week, my day, then my week, and then my month laid out. And in there, I'll put all my consults with my clients. I put my kids' activities and events. I have homeschooling every morning on there. If I need to record a podcast or I need to do a blog post, I put them all in there. I put my husband's work shifts in there. I put what he needs to do in there, birthdays, everything. So everything is in there. I don't leave anything out and just say, I'll remember to do it if it needs to be done. If I have to go grocery shopping, it's written in there. So I'm realistic about my time, because what I used to do was I would write on the calendar the things that had to be done. Okay. So somebody had a birthday party. I had to see clients on a day. I had to study for an exam, whatever it was. I would only put the concrete things that were scheduled at a specific time. So if I had to be at a birthday party at 3, that would be in there. If I had a client at 7 p.m., that would be written in there. But if I knew I could study at any point in the day, it wouldn't be written down. If I knew that I had to go grocery shopping, but it didn't matter what time, I wouldn't write it down. And so it wasn't realistic for me to then make a to-do list and say, I'm going to go grocery shopping, I'm going to clean the house, I'm going to study, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. But then going to my calendar, I have a birthday on that day and I have clients on that day and I have this and that. It wouldn't make sense. And it never worked out, because I would always, I don't know if I'm rambling or if this is actually clear, guys, but there was a disconnect. I would have hours and hours of things I needed to do on my to-do list, but only a couple hours left in the day. And because I wasn't writing my non-scheduled, like at a specific time, my non-scheduled items in my calendar, and I was like, I can get them done at any point in the day, it just seemed like I had way more time than I actually had. And that day rolls around, and then I'm like, okay, I have to go to a birthday party and I have to see clients today and do this. And I'm going to just throw in my studying some point in there. And then studying wouldn't get done, or grocery shopping wouldn't get done and we'd be ordering out, or whatever it is, because it wasn't scheduled in there. So what I recommend you do is get a physical calendar, or if you're using your phone, whatever, just either way, put every single thing in. If you need to grocery shop, that is an event that goes in. If you have to go to church on that Sunday morning, that goes in. Even though it's something that you're like, we know that we do, put it in. If you have to make a costume with your kids before Halloween, put it in. Don't just be like, I'll do it at some point, like schedule it. And that way your schedule is going to look a lot more realistic. And when you see it looking very, very full, because you have every single thing that ever needs to be done written in there, you are going to realize how full your schedule actually is and how much you actually want to cut out. So you start to say, I am overwhelmed looking at how much stuff I physically need to do every day, every week, every month. We need to cut. And this brings us to part 3 of what we need to be doing. And that is cutting what is not necessary. This is going to sound savage. Hear me out. Everyone has a different situation in life. If you're a single person, if you don't really have a lot of commitments, if you're not, you don't have a lot of kids, and you're kind of in an age and a stage in life where you can kind of do a lot of things and have a bit more time, then that's okay. You can kind of assess your own situation. But if you do have multiple jobs, or you have a bunch of kids, or you have things that are overwhelming you already, this is especially where you need to protect your time. Time is money. You cannot get back time. It is the most valuable thing on this earth, and even the richest people in the world spend their money to try to buy more time. Time is the most precious thing we can ever have, and we, all of us, myself included, will waste it and tend to waste it. So I recommend, when you look at your really full schedule, you can start to say, what is not necessary? And we might feel as a parent that everything is necessary, but over time, as you start getting comfortable doing this exercise, you will realize very little is actually necessary. For example, I love these examples, so here we go. The past year, I've started saying no to almost every birthday party. The only ones that we actually attend, I mean, if I have an empty schedule, I'm not going to sound mean here. Like if I have a couple weeks very empty and someone's like, hey, my kid's having a birthday party, of course we'll go. We love supporting. We love being there. My kids love seeing friends, cousins, whatever. But at least for me, like we do have a really big family, and my husband and I both have our own businesses. We're like super strapped. We homeschool. We live in the country, so our taking care of our property alone is hours and hours a week. So we just have enough going on. We actually have very little time together as a family, and that's one of our biggest priorities. So for me, I'd rather not fill up one of our weekend afternoons going to someone's birthday party if we could be spending it doing something that we've really wanted to do and just haven't had time to do because life is so full. So we started saying no to birthdays, except for like my siblings' children. So our immediate nieces and nephews, any cousins, any friends. My kids get invited every week to a friend's birthday party. We have a big homeschool community here. We also have a lot of friends, even non-homeschoolers, and they're just always getting invited to things, which again is so sweet. It's so fun, but it really fills up the schedule fast. And that's just birthdays. That's not, other events that we have planned, because we do a lot of events with our friends here. Like we'll do the trampoline parks, and we'll do theme parks, and we'll go to like Legoland, movie theaters. So the kids always have something to look forward to. But if you're adding all that in, then you're adding Easter and Christmas and Thanksgiving and Halloween and all the other things that you're doing. And then you're adding in school, and it just gets to be, and vacations, it gets to be so much. So I was looking at our books, and I'm like, you know what? These weeks are hectic. If anyone's inviting us to a party these couple weeks, we just have to say no. If people invite us over for an event, if it's just a dinner even, if it's a hectic week, unfortunately, I'm honest now. I'm like, I'm going to say no. It's just not a good time for us. We're too busy at this, in this season, but I would love to circle this back or get a rain check for another day when things are slowing down a little bit. We go through some months that are dead. We have nothing happening. And then we go through months that are just beyond crazy. And in those crazy months, I'm not going to add anything else that's going to dysregulate my nervous system, make all of us crazy and on edge, just because we feel like there's societal pressures to do so. We also will try to simplify things as much as we can. So I know that if I'm going to have to go to, a certain grocery store, and then because I don't shop at one store, I shop at multiple. Quite a few actually. So I'm not going to go and just make big trips driving all over the city. I'm going to go to a grocery store when I'm already in that area to save time driving, to save gas money. So anything I can save in terms of time, I'm doing. But it's the biggest thing is just starting to say no to people. I've even had like a lot of people reach out and be like, I would love to like set up a play date with the kids. Can we get them together? And I'm just like, honestly, like it is too hectic. But in a couple weeks from now, we have a fun event planned at the trampoline park. Do you want to join? Or, we have something fun planned coming up for Halloween. Would you like to join? So I'll always try to give an alternative when we're already having something in the schedule. So it's not taking out more time. It's just adding more people to something we're already doing. So that's how we try to do it. This can apply to anything, guys. It can apply to whatever you have going on in your life, but all of us need to cut, I believe. Even sports. My kids are so active. There's literally something always happening with our community and with their friends. Sports is something I love doing, but I refuse to book them in the summer or the fall. We do not do sports in the summer or the fall because I want to be able to enjoy the summer and not be forced to attend something all the time. In the winter, when there's not much happening, everyone's kind of stuck indoors because it's just crummy weather, at least in Canada. That's where I love to book their indoor sports, like soccer, basketball, whatever, because it's inside, so it doesn't matter the weather. And it's a good way to get their energy out when they can't be playing outside. And there's usually not as much happening in the winter anyway, that it's fine to book something then. But I refuse to take time out of my summer or fall when school's just starting to get sports going. That's our personal preference and our own ideas. Everyone else is so different and so unique. But to me, that's not a priority. If my child is like really wants to put their time and energy into a sport, of course I'll support them, but they are always preferring to do other things. That's just the way my children are, at least. And so like my son's obsessed with chess. So I signed him up for chess club. But yeah, like anything that's not like, like I said, there's a lot of pressures. Like parents are always like, hey, I just signed my kids up for volleyball. Do you want to sign your kids up with them? And I used to always say yes. And we were like literally somewhere all day, every day. It just became too much. So that's part 3 is once you have your main priority goals, and then you write everything out on a schedule and leave nothing out on your calendar, including your priority goals, like wake up in the morning and organize my meals or take my supplements. Like that is all scheduled in there. You look at your schedule, and if it's looking pretty full, you start shaving things off. Whatever doesn't need to be in there or whatever is like your least favorite thing on there, it needs to go. And for us, that's like sports, that's birthday parties, that's all the extra stuff, just because it gets to be a lot. Those are the 3 goals. Now, the final thing that I can say that has worked so well for me is making sure that I do not let myself go to bed too late. Now, this can be a challenge. And in the beginning, it was really hard for me to do because once you go through an entire day and the kids finally go down to bed, you're like, I need some time for me, which I make sure I do get. So I put my kids down to bed by 9. I'll stay up from like 9 to 10. I get 1 hour. I wish I could have more. I will have more time in the future when they're older. But as of right now, that's all I get. I don't want to go to bed later than 10 because I will be exhausted in the morning. And then I probably will I'll move slower through my day. I'll have less energy, that I won't get everything done that I want on my list and on my calendar. So, and if I do, I just feel miserable about it. So by going to bed at a right time, it doesn't force me to wake up any earlier. I'll wake up between 6 and 7, which is how I always wake up, but I feel more refreshed. So I have that energy to just tackle the day again and then repeat. I personally try to always just keep family stuff to the weekend and really try to not have events and things related to family during the week. So that way the week is more for like business and school and like fitness and goals and that kind of stuff. One other thing, what I did that helped so much was, again, shifting the way that I live my life, and realizing that there are seasons to life, and sometimes you're not going to love each season, and you're going to have to make compromises and cuts. It's not going to be the greatest thing, but it's a season. So I'll give you again another example with my own personal life. After I gave birth to my son 2 years ago, I finally got a gym membership. I decided it's time for me to move my fitness outside of the house so I could actually work out without people harassing me. Take that time, because fitness is a big goal for me to be. I want to be like a 90-year-old or 100-year-old woman that's super mobile, that doesn't feel all creaky and achy and all the things. So fitness is really important to me. And I got a gym membership, and I worked out my entire life every day. Gym or not, I always work out every day. But I was going to the gym to work out, and it became really difficult because I did it for about a year and a half. And then that was the time my son just started to get extra needy, as he was about a year and a half, and my husband went back to work, and everything just kind of became overwhelming and hard really quickly. And taking an hour and a half to 2 hours, if you count driving time to the gym every morning, meant that I had to give up other things that I wasn't necessarily willing to give up. So what I ended up doing was saying, I'm going to go do gym like twice a week, and I'm going to buy a treadmill. It's not my favorite form of a workout, but it's something. I'm not stopping moving my body, because that's not an option. I will move my body every day. But instead of going to the gym and lifting weights and that kind of stuff, or walking on a treadmill at the gym, I'm going to do it from home again. So what I did was I got a room in my house, organized it a bit, bought a treadmill for a really affordable price off of Facebook Marketplace. And now my workouts at home are sprinting, like doing interval sprints on the treadmill, or I'll do like a 1 hour brisk high incline walk. It's not my ideal workout. It's not a resistance type of workout, but it's awesome nonetheless. It still helps with mental clarity. It still helps manage weight. It still helps getting the heart rate up. So I'm still moving my body, which is what I need to do. That's always the goal, is just exercise in whatever way that looks like. As long as it's getting done, I'm happy. And then I'll go do my circuit training or my weightlifting like 2 days a week, just to buy me more time. So it saves me gym driving time. It saves me gym money, because I used to have 2 gym memberships, a closer one and then a further one where I would do my circuit training. I got rid of the closer gym, so I don't have to, I just go to my circuit gym now, and I just do my my other stuff at home. So I don't have to have 2 gym memberships. But anyway, this is going in a tangent. But the point is something that was a big goal and priority for me, like weightlifting and doing that all the time. It still is a goal, but it's not as much of a priority as other things in my life in this moment. So I'm like, as long as I'm still moving my body, I'm happy. And if that means I'm going to just do it from home again, sure. I have my treadmill not in the public area now, like of my house, but in the office. So at least I can shut the door and lock it so no one can come in and disturb me, but it saves me a lot of time. So that's it. Those are some time management tips, is just pivoting. It's about being realistic with what you actually have to do in a day. So please don't write down, I work from 9 to 5 and that's all you write down in your calendar. No, if you have to shop that day for groceries, if you need to shower that day, literally anything you can think of that needs to be done on a certain day, fill it in. It'll be way more realistic with the time you actually have left over to then do extracurriculars or whatever else it is. Friend hangouts, whatever. First put in everything you need to do. You will realize how much less time you have than you actually realize, which will then make that little bit of time that you have so much more precious to actually put something that is your number one priority: health, fitness, whatever that might be. All right. I hope that makes sense. You can reach out to me through my social media to request podcast topics. You can comment on YouTube, or again, message me on Instagram if you have any questions ever about anything. But I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to this episode. I hope you're excited for season 3. I have a lot of good topics coming in, some real health conditions we're going to talk about, some current health topics we're going to talk about, and so much more. And then some personal stuff as well. So I like to kind of do a mix of all 3. Hope you guys have an awesome day or night wherever you are listening from, and I'll talk to you in the next episode. Bye.